Hey, DragonCon, Crispy here, and we're gone virtual with our friend Kirk. Kirk, welcome back, kind of.
Ahoy, DragonConers!
I don't know if we ever actually decided on what our fandom is called. Like I keep
Dragonian?
Yeah, the Conmen. No, wait, no, that's something else.
Oh man, yeah, that's us.
Yeah.
Wait, no,
yeah, right.
What?
Just the Dragon Swindlers, I suppose.
Deconers. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Kirk, man, you are a staple at our show, and I know that we're kind of
a paperclip, actually.
Yeah, you got that. Where's Clippy to help us out with this conversation? But man, thanks for taking the time out of your day.
Sure.
And just kind of hanging out with us for 10, 15 minutes or so.
I wish I were there. I miss DragonCon. It's my favorite con to go to. I just love everything about it. I tell people in the industry who've not been to cons or something, I said DragonCon is by fans for fans, so it's a lot more fun. It's not a big corporate event. Not that there's anything wrong with those either, but I love DragonCon and I love Atlanta. I'd never been there before except for DragonCon, so now it's a home away from home. So
one of the things you always experience is like you tend to hit up all the tiki bars. Obviously, hey, look, I got my tiki stuff behind me as well. Like there's a fun tiki scene in this town. Like
there is
that something that you like every time you come to Atlanta? Do you try to find like a new location?
Yeah. Oh, always. In fact, what I like to do is stay an extra day or two and visit friends, but then just bum around. I found a great ukulele store about half an hour outside of town. Huge, because he has an online presence. So I love Atlanta. Food. The food there is amazing. So I just have a great time. It's really, really fun.
It's just a casual environment all the time, and then I guess the excitement of the convention really adds on a fun layer to things.
Yeah, and again, it's just so much about fans. So I'm as a creator, I love it because I get to see people I really only get to see at DragonCon. But then as a fan of other creators, I get so I have a blast. I made good friendships there. It
is a lasting location. Like you and I have been in touch since our last interview for a couple of years now. It's definitely a friendship.
I don't know if we're good friends, Crispy, but
yeah, that's fair. There's a fine line. There's acquaintance, there's friend, and then we're in the middle of that. I acknowledge that. And you actually, a little heads up, we're going to be seeing you again in our masquerade. A little inside knowledge here. You helped us out with the video that we're not allowed to talk about too much, but I think if the audience looks over your left shoulder, they'll get a taste for.
Get an idea. It might be a misdirect too. You don't know.
That's true. We don't know which thing we're looking at there, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but thank you personally for collaborating with us, and man, just bringing some more fun because finding fun in this day and age is such a struggle.
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons I did it was I'm starting to build my own little studio. I mean, just at home for doing stuff. Mm-hmm. And part of that is to do this Kickstarter I want to do. So in a way, you guys got the lead out of my boots. My mom would say to, figure out shooting green screen in my living room where I had to move the furniture around and I had to get a tripod, and my next big purchase is a couple panel lights. But it's like, okay, it forced me to do something I'd wanted to do. So it was great and so much fun. I'm really honored that you asked me to be part of it. So it was a win-win for me, even though it was about 8-9 days out of my life. And I still have glue gun burns on my hands. So
that's a good kind of pain, though.
Yeah, well, but it just made me think of my old creature making days. It was like, I remember this.
It's been a while, and is that something like we talked off camera before we started? Like you don't have a studio in your home. Like when was the last time you actually got to build something like that for like a professional setting?
Oh, for professional? Jeez. Yeah. The last time I built anything was for a sideshow. They had an R2-D2 customizing challenge or kind of festival. And I made a pirate R2-D2. They just gave us blank white models. So that was fun because I hadn't built a model in forever.
Yeah.
But made a creature and got paid for it was probably, dinosaurs I was designing and supervising, but getting my hands dirty was probably Gremlins.
Wow. Yeah.
I only did it for the first 4 or 5 years, and then of course with Henson and the Creature Shop, dinosaurs and other stuff, I was always around. And supervising it sounds snarky, more just like contributing and collaborating. Really is what I prefer it to be. Not like do it this way, but like that's cool. What about this? Collaborating on stuff up until but making stuff for a paid gig probably 1984.
Wow, I honestly would have expected it to be more recent, but I mean, the way you tell that story, it makes sense because collaboration is so important in creation.
Yeah.
You know, and no matter the medium, be it a digital medium or physical and stuff like that, and you can only go so far inside your own head.
Yeah, I mean, particularly with creatures and puppets, I mean, it's such a big process. It's not like, oh, I sewed a shirt. It's like, well, I designed a puppet, then I either sculpted it or fabricated, put clothes on it. Then for me, like with this thing, I did a little bit of everything. I shot it. I don't want to give too much away, but well, afterwards we'll talk. We'll do another interview afterwards. But anyway, it's really fun.
Yeah, well, you kind of dipped into your personal Kickstarter that's coming up. I definitely want to give you the opportunity. Let's talk about that. Right. What is this fun project? Where can we find you online, and where can we help support your crazy dreams? Which I love.
So the other aspect of this quarantine, this lockdown, is sitting around waiting for the phone to ring has been abysmal. It's just they're not starting up. Even writing, which surprised me. I thought they'd go, well, look, we got all this free time. We know we're going to continue making shows. It's not like Hollywood's shut down forever, but it's just been a total dry spell. So I've had this idea for a show called Captain Randy Submarine for about 15 years.
Okay.
And my quick pitch is it's Pee-wee's Playhouse meets Monty Python meets the Muppet Show, all in the world of Yellow Submarine.
You just summarized my childhood. So I'm
well, that's what it is. It's sort of like I grew up, I'm old enough to have grown up with the real kid shows that Pee-wee's was sort of based on.
Yeah.
But what I loved about them, and particularly Pee-wee's, was it was such a collaboration of different looks and artists and stuff, and you had your host, Pee-wee. So this is a chance for me to do that, both as the creator. I get to play the host, Captain Randy, so I've been, branding for a few years. I think I'm going to dye my beard orange for it, though. And he's on the Rusty Fun Bucket, his chubby sub, which is a submarine, and he can kind of go anywhere and see anything. And what's exciting for me, besides doing a comedy show it's framed as a kid's show, but it's more like Pee-wee or Python, where it's kid friendly, but it's super creative. And I said the worst of it, like Benny Hill, it's like a little naughty, but without being, inappropriate. In fact, one of the ideas for the Kickstarter is that it'll be two versions. There'll be a G-rated version where we either change a line of dialogue or something, and more adult. And I say adult in a very loose term, more like Pee-wee or Monty Python, where it's the jokes are a little naughtier. Again, not filthy, but naughty, but so anyone over 13 or 14 can watch it. I mean, depending on your religious preferences, I guess.
Yeah. It's kind of stuff like your dad or your parents could watch with you. They're going to get jokes that the kids wouldn't get.
Right. And dumb puns, but it's just fun and silly. And the big part of it, which is why I brought up Pee-wee's, and is I want to collaborate with so many people that I know. I mean, actors, performers, puppeteers, puppet builders, visual effects guys, writers and directors that I've been friends with I worked in the business 40 years, and I've gathered a huge group of friends. And what I want the show to be is sort of an incubator for ideas they have that we can shoot, or they can even shoot. I mean, part of it is, especially during this lockdown, you could shoot your own little 1-minute puppet segment or cartoon segment, or just you in front of a green screen being a funny character. And we put it in the show because, like those old kid shows, or even Pee-wee's Playhouse, he had magic screen. Captain Randy has his hairy periscope, which is just a big periscope that comes down, and you look through it and he goes, oh my gosh, and you cut to whatever. It can be a different world. It can be, again, animation, live action. And then there's all the guests that come aboard the submarine. So it's a very minimal set. It's basically the helm area of a weird submarine. It's got there's a tiki bar in the back. And so there'll be puppets and, and creatures and mermaids and mermen and King Triton's son, King Triton Jr. It's going to be really fun. And the fun part for me, besides making something I've thought about forever, is working with good friends. So the calls going out this week to people. I mean, friends of mine who are supportive of it and are going to help just spread the word, like Joel Hodgson and Adam Savage have both said they'll get behind it and, spread the word and maybe do a segment. I can't guarantee, and they can't guarantee because everything's bananas right now. So part of the Kickstarter campaign will be like, endorsement does not guarantee participation.
Right. It's a fair disclaimer. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And I don't want anyone saying, Adam Savage said he loved your show and he's on board. That's the whole campaign is Captain Randy Submarine, I'm on board.
Yeah.
And so, I'm going to get as many people, again, in both sides of the camera to help spread the word, but also to be a part of it. Again, even if they just shoot something, against a green screen at home, we put them in on our set. So I'm kind of excited about it. It seems like this is the right time, and the other reason for me doing it is I'm just kind of tired of corporate America being the arbiter of what you can do.
Right.
There's 5 companies now that basically you go to with an original idea, and having an original idea right now is sort of like buying a lottery ticket, because unless you have a major name star, it's based on a kid's book or a previously hit franchise, they just don't like taking risks. And the audiences and me as well go like, well, there's nothing, oh great, another Batman movie. Not that they're bad, but like, thank God Marvel does things like Guardians of the Galaxy, like, oh, it's not Spider-Man 8th version. And again, none of that stuff's bad. But it's like, hey, how about some room for original stuff? And part of it's because if they don't own it, they don't want to pay you for your original idea. They just want to, redo Rocky and Bullwinkle and the Powerpuff Girls or whatever they already own. And I love that stuff. But as hard as it is to pitch original ideas, or as frustrating, I should say, I said, you know what? That's why I want to do this Kickstarter. It's like, you know what? I'm tired of going hat in hand, going, here's my original idea that's not really like anything, but it's like, and they kind of look at you like in 2 heads.
Yeah, that's not really what we want.
Well, I think, and again, DragonCon is the right place to promote it, because everyone there loves this stuff, and they love, the cosplay and everything. There's so many creative people. And ultimately, if it's successful, then it could branch out into different shows. Like if you do a show with your friends and it's a little 2-minute segment and people love that, because obviously with Kickstarter, there's a give and take, and then wherever it airs. What if we sell it to a network, or we just run it ourselves on, Vimeo or something, where you pay a certain amount for continuing episodes? Then you get a feedback loop of like, we love this. So great.
It's a little more instantaneous that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those things where like, I'm going to tell a secondhand story here, if I may. When Shrek came out, the guy who originally had the title track was from my hometown of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, from a band called Self, Matt Mahaffey. And he was tasked with creating the title song for Shrek.
Oh, wow.
They were like, oh, cool. Make a song that kind of sounds like Smash Mouth All-Star, I guess. And he did a track, and they're like, you know what? We're just going to get Smash Mouth. Yeah. And so they're like, so his credits is the end credits for Shrek, sure. But it's that exactly kind of corporate mentality of like, yeah, we're just going to stick with what we know. And it's just the nature, I guess, of the industry when the money is talking.
It's human nature. Look, I never get mad about it. I said, if there's a plumber and there's a plumber who's done 5,000 toilet installations, and there's a new guy with a new whatever, but he doesn't have the track record, I'm like, yeah, I'll probably go with the guy who's done it. And then that's what's happened with the Muppets. The core team of creators, myself, and there's just a few of us left. They kind of don't, I wouldn't say, they don't respect us, but they want Jason Segel or Josh Gad or some big name. Now, it used to be that would be the cameo, but now they went, oh no, we want them to be the creator.
Yeah.
And then you get something where people are like, well, that really wasn't like the Muppets. It's like, well, yeah, because they haven't. I mean, when you work something for 30 years, you kind of get it in your DNA. So that's been frustrating to me. So I kind of gave up trying to sell ideas to the Muppets that are Muppet related from a guy who worked with Jim Henson, and not that they've been, like shut up, go away, but it's just hard to push it up. The people I work with have been very willing to listen and go, that's great, but them, they have to go.
You have this direction. Yeah, they've got their own direction. Did you do anything with the current show then, or
what? Yeah, I directed half of them. All the Bunsen and Beaker, the Miss Piggy Lifestyle, and the Pepe's Game Show. Those are all.
I haven't seen last week's episode yet because I've been busy with DragonCon stuff, but you just literally named off my 3 favorite segments of every episode so far. To the surprise of no one, like you and I share a lot of the same similarities of humor. The Bunsen and Beaker sketches especially have, Like I'm sitting there watching, like imagine being, because you guys shot in like a lot somewhere, but you can see the highway in the background.
Well, yeah,
and
that was the idea. Was to
I was
show
like, imagine just driving by and just seeing, like what's happening down there, creating its own degree of chaos.
That was the 405 freeway, and when we featured it to kind of show, because the gag is like we got this low budget studio, not the Disney lot, and the Muppets. It's always the truth of like, oh, we're kind of the redheaded stepchild, so. We shot it in a parking lot, which, is funny, but it did not make it easier. We had planes and helicopters flying overhead. It was hot as heck. It was last May or June, so it was 100 degrees out, and we're baking. So it was, and then of course your sun, over the course of 12, 14 hours, the sun changes. So we'd have to put up big silks at the end of the day, and then, at noon, whatever.
Yeah, it's a mess though when you're doing in the wild. It's not like a controlled environment. Like, I also flew out to LA to watch the Hollywood Bowl show.
Oh, right.
That was astounding. But you guys had that controlled space, even though it's the bowl, it's outside.
Right.
You had the more controlled environment and things like that. And then beyond that, like a true closed studio. So it's fascinating to see how the environment affects the
we had to shoot them outside because we were doing literally dangerous stuff, blowing stuff up and burning things and flinging things at 60 miles an hour against the cement wall. And the Muppets game show, which was really was the most fun just for me because it didn't have as many technical headaches as being outside and blowing stuff up and being safe. And also sometimes the thing didn't blow up or didn't break very dramatically. But with Pepe's Bill Beretta, who does Pepe, so we kind of wrote a loose outline of what the show would be in questions. And then we really got people. I mean, they were people who were comfortable being on camera, but they were like real contestants. And that was all improv and ad lib. And Bill would just kind of go off on these funny tangents, which was the concept of the show. It's like a madman running a game show who has, ADHD.
That's an understatement.
And is a narcissist. So, so that was fun because we kind of knew what the questions in the contest would be. We had no idea how it would end up. We didn't know who was going to win. Like, we had two people on and we kind of judged them by their performance and what was fun. And then, they didn't win anything. So
they won the experience, Kirk. They won I would kill to be one of those random people. Not kill, but I would love to be one of those random people. Okay, I would. Let's be real here.
I'll give you next year's list.
You got it. Yeah, I want to be in on that. Man, I'm looking at my time now. We've already run like 16 minutes, which has been amazing.
Okay, bye.
Make this an hour, but I do need to wrap things up. So we're going to draw a random question here, our tried and true staple of ending. Randall's here kind of overwatching. Do you have a color preference? Last time you did green for Kermit. Do you have a color preference for this time?
I'll do orange. Do you have orange? I'll do orange.
Orange.
Captain Randy Submarine, the Rusty Fun Bucket is orange. So we'll go.
That's perfect. All right.
Staying on brand.
All right. Your orange card.
Sir.
You just stole a TARDIS, Kirk, like the Doctor. Okay. Where and when do you go?
I would go to Paris at the turn of the century, not this last century, the previous one, probably around, about maybe 1900. Okay. Art and architecture, Art Nouveau is flourishing. Amazing. Yeah. I just love that era. I think for me, it's when art and architecture and technology were all kind of, you still had to be an artist, but technology was helping to create, produce more art as opposed to just paintings that there would be one of. There were prints and posters and sculpture was exploding and metalwork. If you look at the French metro railings and stuff. So yeah, I love that period in art and clothing. Bowler hats were all the people wore hats.
Yeah. So hats. Yeah.
That's my answer.
I love that. That kind of has like bohemian romantic vibe too.
Yeah. Definitely I'd be an artist with I look at pictures of Gustav Klimt and I'm like, and he was in Vienna. So I take Vienna too. But he just walked around in a robe, unkempt as I do. Painted naked women. I'm like, well, I would totally do that.
Do we have a career for you, friend? Well, cool. Yeah, man. I want to again thank you personally. I'm saying this a lot. I owe you a lot this year. And I'm glad to be able to give you some time with us this year. If we can show your stuff on the camera, I want to see on the screen. Let's check out where we can find you on social media.
Great.
We have your Instagram and Facebook here at Kirk R. Thatcher. And you're very active on both. And you also have your website as well. I believe it was kirkrthatcher.com. So
yeah, that's great. I mean, that's where I'll be promoting Captain Randy probably the middle, the next 4 weeks, hopefully. Get it started. Have it fun for Halloween.
Just in time for the good season. Oh, man, Halloween. That's a separate conversation I'm going to have off camera.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Thank you again for your time. I love you. And we'll see you guys soon.
Aloha, everybody. Have a great DragonCon.